Yo, 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 today we're talking about UFC 322, or the main event of UFC 322, the most anticipated fight of the year for me personally. Jack Della Maddalena is defending his belt, of course, against Islam Makhachev, who is relinquishing his belt at lightweight, going up and fighting JDM. A very good fight, an amazing fight. I think that JDM is a perfect opponent for a guy like Islam. He is good enough for people not say like, this was bullshit champion, blah, blah, blah. But also, I think that Islam is good enough for people to think that this is a very interesting fight. I think that a lot of people after the JDM fight were like, oh, I don't know if Islam beat JDM. But now, looking at the odds and looking at the opinions of people, a lot of people are thinking that Islam is beating JDM fairly comfortably because JDM had a close fight versus Bilal Muhammad, but I tend to disagree. I want to do a small little breakdown of this fight. I want to look into their past fights and I want to see what we can get out of them. First off, let's start with the win streaks. 18 fight win streak for JDM, 15 fight win streak for Islam, all in the UFC. So the opposition has been different. In my opinion, Islam has faced the better opposition, but Jack Della Maddalena still hasn't had the time to face the opposition that Islam has faced. He's 5 years younger. At this point in time, Islam was not even a champion. So it's hard to say like, oh, JDM has a worse resume. I wouldn't say that exactly. At this point, yes, but if you compare them at 29, then JDM is farther in his career. Something that was not expected, honestly, because a lot of people expected Islam to rise through the ranks pretty fast. But of course, at that time, 5 years ago, Khabib was still the champion. So just over 5 years ago, he was the champion. Yeah, so he was not able to really get into the rankings at that point. And if he would have, he would not have been able to fight for the title because of Khabib there. But anyway, JDM, let's look at his last few fights. Let's look at his last five, starting with Randy Brown, the fighter he choked out in round 1. Did it pretty easily, club and sub. Then this is where the controversy happens. 2 split decisions in a row against Basil Haves and Kevin Holland. In my opinion, the Kevin Holland fight was very clear, 30-27. I don't know how this was ever a split decision. I thought that JDM gave him a boxing lesson. It's a hard fight. It's hard to finish a guy like Kevin Holland, so he wasn't really trying to, but overall, fairly comfortable. I said hard fight, but I want to take that back. It was not a hard fight at all, in my opinion. He just did it on easy mode and beat him. But before that, Basil Haves, a very tough fight for him. Again, I disagree with the fact that it should have been a split decision. I thought that JDM, again, beat him fairly clearly because he did all the damage. He did get controlled in certain positions, but he did all the damage, and that should be enough to win the fight, just like the Volkov Almeida one. But here I would say that the difference was even bigger. In my opinion, JDM beat him fair and square and very clear, so no split decision on either of those, in my opinion. Then a fight he was losing in a lot of people's eyes and in the eyes of the judges, against Gilbert Burns, but he comes back with a beautiful time knee after standing up off the ground versus Burns, finishes him there. And then over a year later, he fights Bilal Muhammad on short notice. Well, not very short notice, but he was supposed to fight Leon Edwards, but everything changed and now he had to fight Bilal Muhammad. So not short notice, but some stuff happening there. He beat Bilal Muhammad, again, clear, 48-47 in my opinion, because Bilal had a few very competitive rounds. It came down to the 5th round, in my opinion, and Jack showed very good cardio, grit, and showed that he had to win this round to win it, and that's exactly what he did. And I think that's a very, very good thing to have when you're fighting a guy like Islam. Now, Islam, last 5 were all him defending the belt. He won the belt 6 fights ago, but after that Volkanovski decision, a lot of people thought that Islam lost that one. I disagree. Fairly clear Islam, in my opinion. Then the head kick knockout against Volkanovski, some AI stuff happening there. I'm pretty sure this fight never happened, but whatever, Tapology still has it there. Dustin Poirier, Darce choke. Hard fight for Islam. Very hard fight, but he ended up finishing it in the 5th round. And then, of course, another Darce choke. Renato Moicano back in January 2025. He was supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan. Arman pulled out right at the weigh-ins, and in stepped Renato Moicano. I mean, what can you say about that fight? Obviously a very good performance, and he won it easily. A lot of people want to point to the fact that Islam slipped and calling it a knockdown, but I think a lot of trolls do it. I'm not sure why. It was very clearly a slip, but people are like, oh, look, if Renato can knock him down, then JDM will knock him out, whatever. We all know it's bullshit, guys. That never happened. There was a slip. And since January, he has been eyeing the welterweight title. He was basically preying on Bilal's downfall because he did not want to fight Bilal. I think he wanted to fight Bilal, but I think the camp of Khabib didn't let him. Camp of Islam didn't let him fight a fellow Muslim, someone they've trained with before. But in my opinion, I think the way it looked for me, because there was some stuff happening and Islam like joking and give me the belt, blah blah blah, and I didn't really seem like Islam really cared if it was Bilal or no. Felt like he just wanted to fight, but he was basically preying on Bilal's downfall. He was hoping that Bilal would lose so he could go up and fight for the championship against JDM. So yeah, very impressive 15 fight win streak. Last 5 also very impressive, but overall nothing we don't know before. We didn't know before, right? So I'm not telling you guys anything new. Jack is 29. Islam is 34. 34 is not old, but I feel like he's reaching the end of his prime. 35, maybe 36 would be the last prime year, but I don't even think that is going to be the case here. But Islam is just turned 34, so he's still in his prime. He's still looking good. His last fight, he looked career best, moving up, so the weight cut is not going to be that much of an issue. He said that he weighs at around 191 pounds now, which is fine. It's not a big welterweight, not at all. I think that JDM walks around heavier. I know some lightweights that walk around even heavier, so I don't think that is a big welterweight at all. But I think it's good enough. You don't have to be a huge welterweight or a huge fighter to be good. I think that a small weight cut is even good for him for once, to see how good he actually is. JDM, I think he might be a bit heavier, but not much bigger overall. He's also 5'11". Islam, it says here 5'10", but I think they're just going to be about the same height, so that's not going to be a problem. Size is not going to be the issue here, unless Islam needs to be bigger than his opponents, which I don't think that's the case. I think that the size is not going to be the problem here. I think that he's big enough, but the thing is, he has more muscle, right? Because he's been training, he's been trying to get more muscle. I think that's going to be not an issue, but he won't have the same cardio because of it, but also with less of a cut, maybe that balances it also. I think in a cardio, it's not going to be an issue for him as well. It's not going to be different. But I do think that Islam's cardio, it's very good, but it's not elite in my opinion. I think that it could be better. Elite is someone I would consider like Volkanovski, Sandhagen. I'm not going to say Merab because that's more than elite, but that is the cardio I'm talking about when I'm saying elite. DDP at this point, also I would say elite cardio. So these guys I consider to have elite cardio. Islam, I feel like, is a bit under there. JDM, I think, has elite cardio. He showed it against Bilal. Bilal has elite cardio. And I think that that's going to be a strong point for JDM. I think that he needs to make the fight longer. I don't think that he has the crazy knockout power to knock out Islam in round 1. I don't see that happening. Obviously, it could happen. One flush shot and then that's it. But JDM, not a big knockouts fighter. Sorry, guys. Well, he is a big knockout fighter, but it's not like insane punching power. He's not a Francis Ngannou at welterweight. He's just more of a sniper with a lot of volume, and I think that's good for him. I think that he needs to walk forward. I think that he needs to double up on his punches, and I think that he needs to throw a lot of volume like he did against Belal. But the thing is he going to be able to do this against Islam? Islam is not stupid, bro. Obviously, he'll strike for a minute. Like, look at his kick, look at this low kick. He's not going to be doing this for 5 rounds like Belal. Belal tried to shoot, he wasn't really able to. Still got 3 takedowns, got one in round 5, but he was just not able to keep it, and JDM beat him after standing up. Islam, I think he has better takedowns. I think that he doesn't have the pressure that Belal has, but I think that the timing is there. I think that his striking is probably more technical, but I don't know if he's able to get the volume on JDM like Belal has on his opponents. I don't think that he has that type of cardio as well to go that hard for 5 rounds. I think that he needs more of a calculated pace to beat his opponents over 5 rounds. We could see against Volkanovski, although it was a very high level fight and the pace was pretty high, it wasn't insanely high, and he was getting tired in round 5. Now, there was a lightweight. He had a short time to recover from his cut. That's what they're saying, right? Because it was in Australia, he had only 16 hours, but normally they have more or whatever. Not an excuse in my opinion, but the cardio, even against Dustin Poirier, though he did beat him around 5 and he looked good there, the cardio, the takedowns weren't as good, the strikes weren't as good. Now JDM tires as well, but I think that it's less of an issue when you're striking, right? You can still go forward, you can still throw punches, but when you're a wrestler, that's more of a problem, because if you're tired, you're not really able to get someone down. And I feel like Islam, he's not someone that really wants to overpower you. He's someone that has nice trips, nice time takedowns, so he doesn't really need to rely on his power that much in the grappling, but still he does get tired, and I think that's going to be an issue. And I think that he's not going to be able to hold down JDM that easily as he has a guy like Renato Moicano, for example, or a guy like Volkanovski when he gets his back. I don't see JDM just having his back taken and not doing anything, because first of all, he's bigger, so the triangle is going to be a bit harder to really cinch in that quickly. And I think that Jack Della knows what he has to do. He's not going to be giving up his back the whole time. And Dustin Poirier, he even escaped it once. And I think that Jack Della Maddalena, he is a guy that is hungry in there. He trains also with a good coach in Craig Jones, who knows exactly what these Dagestanis do. Has he beaten them yet? No. With Volkanovski's 0-2, but JDM, I feel like he has that hunger. He should be able to escape, but I don't know if that's just going to be enough to win the fight. I think that in striking, he is the better fighter, but Islam also has very good striking. He has good kicks. He has okay volume. Nice technical striker. And also the threat of the takedown is going to be somewhat of a problem. Now Jack doesn't really fight that way. The way he's not scared of the takedowns. But that was against who? Against Belal Muhammad, against Basil Havez. He got taken down a lot of times in that fight, by the way. But he hasn't faced someone that can really make him scared to go to the ground. He hasn't faced someone that can really hold him down for multiple minutes. And I think that Islam is that guy. I don't know if Islam is going to be able to get a lot of takedowns. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to get 5, 6, 7, 8 takedowns. But once he gets them, I think it's going to be 1 to 2 minutes of control time, and then they stand up, and then both guys are going to be a bit more careful with the strikes, because Jack knows if I overextend, I'm going to the ground, and Islam knows if I overextend, I'm cooked. I'm getting knocked out. So this is going to be a close fight. I think that I'm kind of done underestimating guys like Islam I think that I'll have to go with him here. I think that if he doesn't have to cut a lot of weight, he will be better. But I don't know. I want to go with Jack. I think it's going to be more fun if he wins. It would be insane if he wins. I just don't really know. I think that this is going to be close. I don't see this being a finish. I see this being a close decision, majority decision, split decision, something like this. And I could really see Jack winning this. And, you know, if I'm going with Jack, it's not because of something I've seen, but because I think that he would improve himself enough with a good camp. And I would think that his heart, his grit, his hunger would beat Islam and not necessarily his skill set. Whereas if I look at skill for skill, I think that Islam should be able to get it done. Because it's way too easy to get Jack down for an elite fighter. Well, not easy, but for an elite fighter, it's easy, right? But then again, Jack can stand up. He is gritty. He's not gonna just be in one position. So I don't know. I'll have to go with Islam based on skill, but my pick is JDM, guys. If he wins, I'm an insane genius because he's a big plus money. A lot of people are underestimating him, but I feel like he's got that dog in him. You know, it's kind of cringe to say at this point, but he really does have that dog in him. You know, we say this about a lot of people. Just he's got this dog in him, but then they give up at some point. I don't think that JDM is that guy. I don't think that he will ever give up. In round 5, when he's gotten taken down by Bilal Muhammad, he knew that he needed to stand up, and he did. He did some weird stuff, and he stood up. Against Gilbert Burns, same shit, bro. He was getting dominated in round 3, but did something crazy and got up and then knocked him out right away. And that's what it is. He's got a dog in him, and that's what I'm betting on here. That's what I'm thinking will win him the fight. I think that Islam moving up, it's a different factor. Bigger people, bigger opponents. But Jack doesn't really move like a bigger guy. He moves very well. He has very good striking, good combinations. He's going to out-cardio Islam. He's going to out-volume him. And I think that maybe Islam will have 2.5, 3 minutes of control time. But he's just not going to do enough with it to win the rounds. Because once Jack stands up, I know I said he would be a bit more careful. But once he loads these combinations, bro, he's just going for it, and I think that he's gonna do enough damage to win these rounds, 3-2 rounds in a split decision. And I like that this is not in Abu Dhabi, so a random ass decision will not go to Islam. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going with JDM. Let's go for that.